Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Flash, and it's La Liga action. What a great weekend. Real Madrid drew level at the top of the table with Barcelona, and actually they go above them on a head-to-head record. Now, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button, and ring the bell. If you ring the bell, then we can notify you, and you'll never miss any content again. And if you press the link in the description, then you can go over to Martin Green's article, and not just Martin Green's article, there's other writers and all of our soccer writers there. You'll enjoy it. You'll have a great weekend. You'll have a great time going through everything. Now I've got Euan McTear from La Liga Lowdown. Euan, that's a great weekend in La Liga. And Madrid, controversy just follows them.
Yeah, it was fascinating. It was interesting. Lots of VAR. Piqué said on Friday night he started things going by suggesting Real Madrid were benefiting from VAR. So then, of course, the VAR gods had to come along and put three very tight, controversial decisions into that really good game against Real Sociedad, which they ended up winning 2-1, like you say, to go top on head-to-head.
I didn't think there was much to really moan about. I mean, Januzaj's goal, Courtois couldn't see. So if he can't see, then the player's interfering. It's a no-brainer. Okay, it's maybe a 60-40 in Madrid's favour when Benzema brings it down with his shoulder, type arm, and cuts in and scores. But I tell you what I was really impressed with. The pace on the left side of Vinicius.
Yeah, exactly. He's just something special, and he brings that energy that Real Madrid maybe don't have. A bit of an older squad, of course, at Real Madrid, so when he gets the ball, he's the one that makes things happen. I agree with you, the calls, I mean, they were all maybe, some of them were closer than others, but I do think at the end of the day, all three of them were correct from the referees, so not too many complaints, but when there's three in a row, all in Real Madrid's favour, even if rightly so, that's going to get people talking in Spain.
It is, especially in Catalonia, because Barcelona already feel as if they're being hard done by. Less rest than Real Madrid. Martin, Vinicius reminds me of Henry. He's just got to get that little bit extra just to bring out a little bit more, maybe assists or goals.
Yeah, I can see why you'd make the comparison, actually. He goes flying down that wing and he cuts inside to devastating effect. Just like Henry, he wasn't overly prolific in the early days of his career, but yeah, you never know. An intuitive manager like a new Arsene Wenger could convert him into a centre forward and he could break all sorts of goal scoring records. Probably not for Arsenal. Can't imagine that happening. But yeah, it could be a very, very good player for Real Madrid over the years. They're just stacked with attacking quality, lots of depth there. Still amazing that Gareth Bale can't even get off the bench. That's how many options they've got. And he does bring something a bit more youthful to the side, along with Asensio coming back. I think they've got a lot of good options there. I think it stands them in really good stead for the remaining weeks of the season.
Yeah, I've gone on record and said I think they win the league. I really do. I just think that Barcelona are too Messi reliant and not enough creativity in midfield, whereas if you've got these out balls from Madrid, he catches pigeons, the lad. Now, we're talking about talent, Euan. The one player that keeps catching my eye is João Felix at Atletico. And what he's doing there, I do not know. He has to move on. And I'd love a Premiership side to actually have the balls to go, he's for us. I think that he could turn out to be Ronaldo in 8-10 years' time.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, maybe before the coronavirus, maybe in a couple of years, maybe next summer, the summer after, somebody comes and pays his release clause. Who knows if the crisis changes things financially and maybe nobody can afford him, because Atletico Madrid, they're not going to let him go. He's got a contract for 7 years, you know. So the only way he's going to is if someone pays his release clause, and that might not happen anytime soon. But yeah, you're right. It's strange to see a player like that in Atletico Madrid, but at least it gives us something creative, something exciting to watch when Atletico play.
Yeah, it's frustrating for the lad because he's so positive. He wants to create. He wants to shoot. And the thing is, Atletico, Martin, I just think that they are a painful watch.
Oh, horrendously painful watch. Yeah, I thought it was a strange move for him at the time. He's such a exciting, dynamic forward, and he pretty much had his pick of Europe's best clubs. But they came in with a huge, huge offer, didn't they? After selling a lot of players last summer, so they were cash rich. And, it really sort of appeased the fans after losing a lot of big players. I can't see him leaving there anytime soon, to be honest, because he is nailed down to that long-term contract. And I don't really see which Premier League club has actually got the funds to sign him right now. Can't see Man City doing it. Chelsea are already spending quite a lot of money. Maybe Man United, but I don't know if that's a particularly attractive destination for him. Atletico Madrid do have quite a history of having really good strikers for a few years and then moving on. Could maybe be the next Sergio Aguero, could be off to Man City in a few years. But I think Atletico are a pretty turgid team to watch a lot of the time, but he's very effective. They're up into third now, and I think they'll nail down that place for the rest of the season and be very dangerous in the Champions League too.
I'm glad you mentioned the Champions League, because we hear that that's now going to be 100% ready in August, and Atletico Madrid, they're sitting there and they're going to be very, very dangerous. Let's kick straight on after a great weekend, by the way, gentlemen. And obviously, Euan, last time you was on, I think it was 100% record. So no pressure, my lad, no pressure. Let's start off with Levante at plus 500, draw plus 279. And as we mentioned, Atletico at minus 140, Euan.
Yeah, I think you've got to like Atletico in this one. We've seen them play really well last midweek as well, going to Osasuna. We were talking about this game last time I was on, what it would be like them going away. Well, they absolutely smashed it. The game against Valladolid, it was 1-0, but I think they were better than a 1-0. And then going away to Levante, remember, Levante are not playing at their usual stadium, so there's no fans anywhere in Spain. We know that. We've discussed that. But for Levante and Real Madrid, they're the two teams who aren't even playing in their home ground. Levante playing at La Nucía in Alicante, a good 100 kilometres or so away from the city of Valencia where they normally play. So Levante not at home, Atletico obviously not either. So I think Atletico can take advantage of that. And, we've seen Atletico play against Valladolid on Saturday. They've rotated a lot. 7 changes in the lineup from Simeone. I was joking with people that Simeone had seen them beat Osasuna 5-0 a few days before and thought, we can't be having that. Need to change the team. You scored a goal, you're out. You scored a goal, you're out. We want to go 1-0. Let's bring in some changes. And, what that means going forward is that some of the players who played in Osasuna and did so well were rested at the weekend and they'll be back. Koke and Saul, neither of them started against Valladolid. They'll certainly be in the lineup for this one. And yeah, I've got to go with Atletico.
Yeah, we've all got to go with Atletico, but it's how we get the value. I mean, straight minus 140 is not bad, Martin, but we got over 1.5, they win 1-0. Under 4.5, they win 5-0. I mean, how do we get these right?
It is difficult. They are a bit of an interesting side like that. But I do think that Levante are a much more stubborn side than what Atletico Madrid have come up against recently. They're unbeaten since La Liga resumed. Very impressive point against Valencia on the restart, despite going down to 10 men. Picked up a strong draw with Sevilla and beat Espanyol. So I don't think they're going to roll over for Atletico Madrid. I think they're going to make Atletico work hard for this win. I'm going to go for the second option, under 4.5 goals at, it's 1.85, minus 115. I do think it'll be tight, but I think Atletico get the job done just due to their squad depth, big players like Saul Niguez coming back into the team for this game, and very, very tight at the back. I fancy them to keep a clean sheet in this one.
Oh dear, win to nil. I mean, that was one of the options last week of win to nil or over 1.5. The Valladolid, they set up really, really patiently. They had 3 front screens. They had a back 4. They had everyone tucked in. They had almost like a reverse Christmas tree. It was just sitting there, push them out wide. And listen, after the first couple of chances in the first 10 minutes, that they didn't really create a lot until late on. And then obviously just got the goal when the keeper had a little flap up. Okay, let's move on. Talked about Atletico playing Valladolid. Well, we're going to go to Valladolid. Valladolid at plus 245. The draw at plus 192. And Getafe at plus 241. Euan?
Yeah, Getafe is an interesting one because this fixture was before the pause. Every day I'm going with Getafe. They've been one of the most impressive teams so far, but since the break they've not been. They've lost at Granada, a probably winnable game, and then they've had 2 draws at home against Espanyol and Eibar, who are both battling relegation. Really disappointing stuff, especially that Espanyol draw, because Espanyol were down to 10 men for 75 minutes. Getafe couldn't get the job done, and the coach Jose Bordalas had an interesting stat that he revealed after the last game, the 1-1 draw with Eibar. And he was saying before the break they had 27 games, and in every single one of them Getafe had more aerial duels won than the other team. In the 3 games since the restart, they've been on the losing side in that aerial duels battle. And it kind of tells you something that we could maybe have seen coming with Getafe, which is that they have one of the oldest squads in the league. Eibar have the oldest, Getafe I think have the second oldest squad in the league. All their strikers are over 30, and not being able to train, having games so often every few days, that's, I think, going to take their toll on Getafe and their aging squad. And that stat with the aerial duels, I think, proves it. So Getafe, I can't really back Getafe for this one. Valladolid have been pretty impressive. You mentioned they did okay against Atletico. Had it not been for the keeper who, I mean, they rotated their keeper in, which I don't know if you really have to give your goalkeepers rest at this stage, but that was his debut in La Liga. It didn't go too well. If it hadn't been for him, they might have got a draw. So, yeah, maybe leaning more towards Valladolid for this one.
Yeah, it's a tough game, this, Martin. Valladolid. They even had their chances, to be fair. They broke well. They broke with intent. They showed good pace. They just couldn't finish it off.
Yeah, I think that was it. A bit of a lack of cutting edge, and they are up against a very solid Atletico Madrid defence. Getafe are a pretty good defensive side as well, though. They have kept things reasonably tight since the restart. I just think they've struggled in front of goal, really, which was a bit of a problem for them last season. They've been a bit more ambitious and attacking this time around, but yeah, haven't really been setting the world alight in front of goal since things resumed. I think we're going to be in for a pretty turgid, low-scoring game here. Like Euan said, lots of ageing legs. I don't think they're managing this congested fixture list that well. I think it could be a bit of a tired, laborious game. I was looking at under 2.5 goals. There's no real value there. It's like 1.4 or something. I don't really see Getafe losing this game. I think they can come away with a draw maybe. So I was looking at doubling up on Getafe draw double chance along with under 2.5 goals at 1.77.
1.77. I mean, yeah, it looks like a 1-1 draw, Euan.
Yeah, it does, or maybe even 0-0. Yeah, it could be a draw. You never really want to go for the draw, but yeah, this one, 2 teams that have good defensive records. Even Valladolid, even though they're in that relegation battle, they've got the 7th best defence in La Liga, so they can keep a clean sheet as well, especially when they bring their starting goalkeeper back. So yeah, I think that's, like you say, not too much value there in backing the under on the goals, but yeah, that's probably because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and remember, we've said it in every show, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A and Premier League punters, don't rule out draw half-time. Let's move on. Barcelona minus 250, draw plus 440, and Bilbao at plus 750, Euan.
Yeah, not much value here either, but Barcelona, you've got to go with Barcelona for this one. Looking at the sort of rotations that teams have done so far, Athletic Club have been one of the teams that's rotated the least so far. They've had some very winnable games, some very tough games so far, and they've gone for them. I think maybe having a look ahead over the horizon and thinking maybe our away day at the Camp Nou is when we rest some players. So I do expect Athletic to rotate a lot more. Barcelona, at home, they're just a different beast. And the thing with this game is quite interesting because these 2 teams have played each other twice already this season. In the very first game of the league, do you remember that back in August, almost a year ago now, when Aduriz, who's since retired, that's how long ago it was, Aduriz had that overhead kick for them to win 1-0 in the dying moments. And then in the Copa del Rey, a Sergio Busquets own goal also in the dying moments for another 1-0 win to put Athletic Club through. So they beat Barcelona twice, 1-0 both times, but that was in Bilbao on both those occasions. Now they have to go away from home. Barcelona, they've got Messi, and the thing for Athletic Club, one area where we know they'll rotate is at left back because Yuri is suspended, and if there's one game where you don't want your left back suspended, it's when you're facing Messi.
Yeah, they've been tiresome, Barcelona, to be fair, Martin. I mean, they won 2-0 at home, then they go to Sevilla and they draw 0-0. I think there's only 9 shots on goal combined. I mean, come on now, let's get a little bit more creativity, because if Messi doesn't do it, I don't know who does.
Yeah, it was a frustrating performance for them. They dominated possession, but they just didn't create enough chances. And I agree that I just think they look a bit laborious and ageing in midfield. That's why they brought De Jong to really revitalise that midfield. And he was a huge, huge miss. I'm not sure what the verdict is on him. I know it was only a minor calf strain, so he may be ready to come back in time for this game. Not too sure.
He might be out now for the season, they're saying.
Really? Wow. So
yeah.
a minor calf strain. Suddenly he's out for the season. That's incredible. So, well, he's going to be a huge loss. They don't really have anyone else to come in and move the ball up the pitch quickly in the middle of the park. But I still do fancy them to get the job done in this one. I think it'll be another low-scoring game. It's just vital that Barcelona win. Yeah, they've already lost to Athletic this season, but I think it's time for them to gain revenge. Even though there's no fans inside the stadium, I still think Camp Nou is an intimidating place for them to visit. And yeah, I just think they'll eke out a pretty narrow victory in this one due to the attacking talent they've got on the pitch. Might be time to bring Ansu Fati back in for a bit more directness up front. So yeah, I'm going to go for the same bet. Barcelona under 4.5 goals, 1.73.
Yeah, I mean, these are all very, very tight. I mean, I prefer the under 4.5 than I do. I just think Bilbao at plus 750 are too big, like with a double chance or maybe Asian handicap. Just because of Barcelona, it's just, how they're going to break you down. It's going to be little 1-2s. And if you sit deep, then you can frustrate them. And obviously their last home game when they won 2-0, I mean, they scored late in the first half and it was a good finish. But for me, Barcelona, they're light years behind Madrid. Now, Alaves plus 260, draw plus 210. And Osasuna, who are now the La Liga whipping boys, at plus 210. Alaves got to bounce back, Euan.
Yeah, I actually fancy Alaves for this one. I think they'll be getting a grilling after losing by 6 goals against Celta Vigo at the weekend. I think they'll get a grilling. They're back home. They're playing Osasuna. Osasuna have been even worse than Alaves. So, yeah, I do fancy them back at home as well. We've said it before, no fans, but there's certain teams that actually, it's the stadium maybe that brings something to them. And I think Alaves at their home ground can do something. This is a local rivalry as well. You have to keep that in mind. Osasuna, Alaves have a lot of history. Just a 1 hour drive between the two teams. And Alaves this season in the derbies, they beat Athletic Club, they beat Eibar, they beat Real Sociedad at home. Now they want to do the Basque quadruple and beat Osasuna as well. I think they'll come back a lot better than they were the other day. And they're almost full strength Alaves, no real injuries, no one suspension, but it's for the backup right back. I think Alaves are looking strong, better team, better squad than they had at the weekend. And I fancy them to bounce back and turn that 6-0 into a win this midweek.
And even if you don't want to go for the win because it's at plus 260, draw no bet in Alaves' favour, I think, Martin, will be good value.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be. I won't dispute Euan's analysis of it. I can't really be backing a team that just lost 6-0 because I don't know where their motivation is going to be at. They could be totally deflated by that performance. Yeah, I reckon we'll probably see quite a sluggish start to the game. Could be 0-0 in the first half maybe, and then someone nicks it after the break. Obviously, Osasuna just lost 5-0 to Atletico Madrid before that 2-0 defeat at the weekend. So these just look like two poor, out-of-sorts teams to me. And I'll just pass this one until I see what sort of result we get.
Yeah, well, if you're going to pass, you keep the money in your pocket. But the other one, remember, is if maybe the most goals being scored in the second half. I think that's quite popular at the moment as well. Now, a side that have been on holiday, then they turn up against Real Madrid and they put a performance in yesterday, to be fair to them, against a very strong Madrid side. Sociedad, minus 118, draw, plus 263, Celta Vigo, plus 400. I don't think you complicate it and you have a little bit of faith in the home side, Euan.
Yeah, I think that the performance against Real Madrid really turned things around. They'd been okay in their first game back. They had a defeat. So it's really mixed results for Real Sociedad, but that was by far their best performance so far. And Martin Odegaard, he wasn't at his best, but he's been carrying a bit of a knock. You expect him to be closer to 100% for this one. And when he's 100%, then you've got to back Real Sociedad a bit more. The thing with Celta Vigo, though, I don't know. I do worry that this momentum might carry on. I mean, when you win 6-0, it's not just that they won 6-0. They've been able to sign a new striker as well, Nolito, coming in as an emergency signing for a backup goalkeeper, which is a bit bizarre in itself. But I think that maybe is, talking to people in Vigo, lifted the mood around the city. And you saw that he came on and scored a penalty at the weekend and set up another. It wasn't because they had Nolito that they won 6-0. But the fact that he's there, I think, has given everyone a bit of a boost and maybe also kept some of the other strikers on their toes a little bit. So I don't know. I'm wary of Celta Vigo when the same way Martin's just said, you don't want to back a team that's just lost 6-0. I don't want to back against one that's just won 6-0.
Okay, I think that might just flatter to deceive, that 6-0, Martin.
Well, I'm exactly the same, Flash. Just like I can't be betting against the team that just lost. Can't be betting on a team that just lost 6-0. I can't be betting against the team that just won 6-0. I think that'll just do wonders for their confidence. I've been waiting for a performance like this and a reaction like this from Celta Vigo since things restarted. Yeah, I think the squad has been galvanised a bit by Nolito's arrival. Looks like he's going to keep Iago Aspas and a couple other players on their toes a bit more. I just think both teams to score. It's got to be 1.91. Both teams to score. Two teams that are looking pretty confident in front of goal. Two teams that concede plenty of goals. I know recent history doesn't suggest that between the sides, but I think we'll see both teams getting on the score sheet in this one. And 1.91 looks like a very good set of odds to me.
No, it certainly does, as does Sociedad. Minus 118, good pace. Just depends whether Celta Vigo's big problem will be if they actually fancy the game and they come out. Because if they come out with Sociedad's pace on the break, then I think that they'll go and win the game. So I wouldn't put anyone off that. Sociedad to win and both teams to score will be good value. Now, Madrid, champions elect, says Mr. Watson. Madrid minus 650, the draw at 810, and Mallorca at plus 2200. How many did Madrid win by, Euan?
I've been looking at this one this morning, and I had a good half a second where I was trying to talk myself into Madrid not winning this one. Ramos might be out. He's got a bit of a knock. Casemiro suspended. Mallorca have had a whole 2 days extra rest. But then I woke up, realised my senses, and realised Mallorca just don't win away from home. These are, I think, the champions elect. I agree with you there, as you've said. And yeah, Real Madrid. The thing about betting on them to win by many goals is that once they do get 2 or 3 up, they might take their foot off the gas, a bit like they did against Eibar in the first game back. 3 goals in the first half, and then they just completely almost took the second half off, ended up winning only 3-1. So I think we'll see a lot of the big teams do that when they go a couple of goals up. Expect Real Madrid to go ahead pretty early on. If Vinicius has a game like he did the other night, I expect them to go up early on. But then, yeah, in that second half, maybe they've got the job done and they don't go and get the number of goals that they could get in normal circumstances.
Martin, have you found any value with the Madrid win? Yeah, I guess I would have 2 options. Real Madrid win to 0, 1.91. You might be a little bit wary of that after Ramos might be out, and as well as their holding midfielder being suspended. But, Mallorca don't score many goals. They're not going to have much possession in this game. They lost 4-0 to Barcelona. Real Madrid can do a similar job on them. They should control the midfield in this game. Otherwise, maybe just you're looking at Real Madrid -2, Asian handicap at 1.7. Can't see them winning this by any fewer than 2 goals, really. I just think competition for places up front for Real Madrid is a really big thing. They rested Eden Hazard at the weekend. He can come straight back into the team alongside Benzema. Vinicius on the other wing. Plenty of options, plenty of good players to bring into the team. James Rodriguez, Marco Asensio. The midfield might take a foot off the pedal a bit in the second half, but I still think the forwards will be really desperate to try and get on the score sheet and nail down a place in the starting 11. So, I think they'll do a job on them. Probably go for the extra value. I'll just go for Real Madrid to win to 0. More of a reflection on how poor Mallorca are than anything really amazing about Real Madrid's defence.
No, I like it. And I tell you what also I like is that you didn't mention Modric. And and then obviously Hazard can come in. James was the one person yesterday that I watched and thought, wow, I didn't even realise you were playing. Now, why would you play James wide right? He's a number 10. He sits in the hole. He's an intelligent footballer. I mean, and the other thing I really liked is when Ramos went off and he put Casemiro back, he slipped Marcelo into holding midfield. They've got so many options. They changed they disguise it well. And obviously they've got the Blad who catches pigeons and Benzema who's scoring every game. I like the 1.91, definitely win to 0. But I also like Real Madrid to win both halves. I think that's another way to go. But Madrid all the way for me. Now, Eibar +200, draw +245, Valencia +150. I actually picked this as probably the game of the week, Euan.
Yeah, this is maybe the game of the week because it's maybe the one that I'm struggling the most to decide what I think about it. Normally, this is a fixture that Eibar do really well in. Eibar, since they got promoted 5 years ago, they played this fixture 5 times and they've had 2 wins, 2 draws and only 1 defeat. That defeat actually came when Gary Neville was Valencia coach,
Wow.
one of his very few victories with Valencia. But the lack of fans is a big thing. It's Eibar's a small, intimidating ground. It's very close, and maybe that's what's been putting Valencia off. So maybe now that's not so much a factor. Eibar yet to win since the restart, but I have been quite impressed with them. They've had a few tricky fixtures against some very physical teams, and they've held their own more or less. Certainly not been embarrassed, even though we thought they might be after that poor first half at Real Madrid. So I do kind of lean towards Eibar in this one. But one interesting thing that I don't think's been talked about enough is the form of Rodrigo Moreno, the Valencia striker. He's got 2 goals since he's been back, but really it's 4 because he's had 2 ruled off for offside. There was that one we saw in the Real Madrid game where maybe it was interference, maybe it wasn't, but the finish was fine. And then he had another goal at the weekend against Osasuna, ruled out for a straightforward offside that time, but the finish was good, and then he did get one. So you'll know yourself, Flash, as a striker, if you're putting the ball in the back of the net, you know that you finished well, even if the offside flag does go up. So your confidence is still high. So from his point of view, he'll be thinking he's scored 4 goals since the restart. The stat sheet says 2, but that's something that's not been talked about enough, is just how in form Rodrigo Moreno is.
Yeah, I see both teams scoring, and I couldn't agree more. It becomes instinctive. You actually then you strike the ball without even thinking about it. And when you strike the ball without even thinking about it, that means you strike it early. The keepers can't get set, Martin.
Yeah, he's done very, very well. He's obviously a huge player for them, and results always improve when he's in the side because he's that focal point of their attack. But they got so many options. They had a couple of players out at the weekend, but still they were able to bring in Guedes. They won 2-0. It was a very good, very controlled performance. I fancy them to go to Eibar and get a result there. Yeah, like Euan said, they've got a poor record up there, but a lot of that really could be down to the small, intimidating ground that Eibar have. Take the fans away, it's just 11 versus 11, and I think Valencia shade it for me. Not 100% convinced, not enough to bet on the outright win for Valencia, but I'm going to go for them draw no bet. Odds of 1.8.
Valencia draw no bet is at 1.8.
Yeah.
That's a great price. That really is. I mean, I like both teams to score as well, to be fair. Now, last game, this is another one of them tough games. It is a little bit trappy this week in La Liga. Last week, we were all singing, all dancing, couldn't do a thing wrong. Now, it's a case of tread carefully. It looks like there could be a few minds waiting to blow us up. Now, Betis at plus 130, draw plus 251, and Espanyol, you know what you're going to get from them at plus 240, Euan.
Yeah, the thing is, it is a mind because we don't know what we're going to get from Betis because they've just sacked their coach. They've came back, a couple of defeats and a draw since the restart. And the last one, they lost at Atletico. That did it for Rubi. He's out the door. He's been sacked because, they're not completely safe from relegation. So is there going to be a new manager bounce, or are the players just going to be as deflated as they've looked, as unenergetic as they've looked under Rubi? The coach coming in, he's coming in from the boardroom, Alexis, a former player, sure, he loves Betis, but a director, and I don't know, that dynamic, I never find you get the same new manager bounce when it's someone coming down from the boardroom. But at the same time, summer's coming up and he's going to have a say in a lot of these players' future. So it's a very interesting one. I do think, if I'm having to get off the fence, I do think Betis respond positively to this change. At home, Espanyol are a really poor team. I'm going to lean to Betis and expect that new manager bounce.
Do you fancy goals? Because that's the first thing I wrote down, that I thought Betis would throw caution to the wind, go all-out attack, and I fancy maybe over 2.5 goals in the game, with Espanyol getting on the score sheet as well.
Absolutely, I could certainly see that happening. I mean, both these teams are down the bottom half of the table because of their defences. They have good strikers, they have good forwards, they don't have great defenders, and yeah, if they both go for it and they've got the attacking talent to score, then yeah, certainly could be a lot of goals.
Martin, the old Alex classic.
Old Alex Classic looks good. I'm just going for both teams to score at 1.88. So that covers me for a 1-1 draw as well, which looks good. I wasn't too surprised to see Rubi sacked, to be honest. They've been poor all season, despite spending a lot of money and being quite ambitious last summer. Really, really underperformed. I think it will give them galvanise the forwards a little bit in this one. But, Espanyol are fighting for their lives. Their results have been impressive since season resumed. So, I think we should see a good, open, entertaining game here. And 1.88 on both teams to score looks good.
Okay, well, before I get a recap, please, if you like this video, then subscribe, press the button, ring the bell. If you ring the bell, then we can notify you and you will never miss any content again. And remember to give us a thumbs up. Thumbs up means that Euan and Martin have done a job that you appreciate. Also, press the link in the description and you can go over and see Martin's article on La Liga, but not just Martin's article. There's other writers and all of our soccer pages. Now, give us a rundown, please, Martin, of your bets. Parlay, I don't fancy that. And a banker, please.
So I'm going to go for Atletico Madrid and under 4.5 goals at 1.85 against Levante. Getafe draw double chance and under 2.5 goals against Valladolid, 1.77. Small stake on that one. Barcelona and under 4.5 goals at 1.73 against Athletic Bilbao. Real Sociedad Celta Vigo, draw no bet, 1.91. Like that one. I'm going to go for Real Madrid win to 0 against Mallorca at 1.91. Valencia draw no bet at 1.8 against Eibar. And both teams to score in that Real Betis versus Espanyol game. Difficult for a banker, really. On reflection, I'll probably go for both teams to score in that Sociedad versus Celta Vigo game. Looks attractive to me. Yeah, to be honest, I'll probably leave a parlay for this week and wait for the weekend's fixtures.
I thought you'd go for Madrid to win to 0 at 1.91. Unbelievable odds. I couldn't believe it. Euan, I put you under pressure last time and you came up smelling of roses. Can you do it again?
I'll try. I think if I'm going for a banker, I'm going for Barcelona. I really do think a lot of people are looking at this game as one of the more entertaining, the more succulent fixtures of the week. But I think Athletic Club really are going to rotate and sort of take this one off. So Barcelona, it's not great value, but Martin's found a bit of value there. I'm going for Barcelona as a banker.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I'm all Madrid, to be fair. Madrid win to 0 for me at 1.91. And just to confirm, Martin, you said Valencia draw no bet at 1.8, was it? Or both teams to score 1.8?
That's draw no bet. Valencia draw no bet at 1.8, yeah.
I love that. I love that. In fact, I'd put them in a parlay as well. Euan, I hope you've enjoyed your time with us. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Enjoy the Madrid. Obviously, they're going to be up on a high, and I fancy it's only going to get better for them. Martin, I'll see you again soon. You take care.
See you soon, Flash. Cheers.
So that's Martin and Euan from La Liga Lowdown. And I'll see you, everyone, very, very soon. Enjoy your La Liga. You take care.